The black community has various issues, but allow me to illustrate how all of those issues stem from one singular problem. If you were to survey random black people and ask them what were the most challenging issues facing black people today, you'll see the same three topics come up as the top three in most responses. Violence being number one, economics being number two, and housing being number three. Now, all with the exception of violence directly have to do with income and wealth. And also violence is a byproduct of wealth as well, in addition to discipline, morality, and structure. So let's look at black wealth in America. Now here's the black wealth gap, with black families averaging about $24,000 in wealth, with white families averaging $189,000 in wealth. Now, wealth is basically all of your assets minus your liabilities. Now, what can we think could possibly be causing a $165,000 wealth disparity between black and white families? Well, good old-fashioned racism, you might say. That's part of it, but let's dig a little deeper. Here is the average weekly salary for a black man above the age of 25 versus all other races. Now, as you can see, there's about a $220 difference between what black men earn versus all other races of men. Now, could that $220 difference be attributed to racism? Yeah, probably. But is a mere $220 a week the root cause of a $165,000 wealth disparity? Probably not. Now let's look at the median income average for black married families versus all other families. And you'll see that we're really not that far off track, with the difference only being about $14,000 per year. But the big difference, the big glaring difference you can see, is that 73% of them are married versus around only 45% for us. Well, what happened to our other 27%? Look right below. You'll see that 44% of black families are single mother-led households with no spouse. And that's compared to around 19% for all other families. So essentially, that's where our 25% went. We're not losing the income race, we're losing the marriage race. Prior to the 1960s, black women on average were more married than even white women. Well, what happened? Civil rights happened. That's what happened. Black women started to get free money from the government and started to decide they didn't need a man. Now, because of the financial incentive, black women have children earlier and more often than most other races. Black women are twice as likely to have 4 or more children. This is meanwhile most of them aren't married. And 59% of black mothers have children by multiple fathers. So with a disproportionate amount of black children living off of one meager salary, this is what causes your economic issues, your housing issues, and your violence. Too many children living off one salary. And I know what you're saying. Well, what about black men? All these babies aren't being born by themselves. But the reality is, between the ages of 20 and 29, only 24.9% of black men even have children. That's about 3 points higher than white men and about 5 points lower than Hispanic men. The sad reality is the majority of black women are having these children from a very small minority of black men.